All right, guys, for the plaintiff, Mr. Reich, a witness, and for the defense, Mr. Mann. Mr. Reich is in examination. 180 words per minute. Take it away,
Ready? Ready, begin. Would you please state your full name?
Joseph Gold.
What is your present address?
2160 Century Park East, Los Angeles 90067.
And your business address?
3660 Wilshire Boulevard, LA 90010.
What is your age?
64.
Are you presently employed?
Yes.
Who is your employer?
Mutual Building and Engineering Corporation.
In what capacity are you employed with them?
Building manager.
Could you briefly describe your duties?
Responsible for maintenance of mechanical and overall building operation, its components and personnel.
Is that the building located at 3600 Wilshire?
Yes.
Mr. Gold, the proceeding that is taking place here today is called a deposition. And do you understand that the oath which the court reporter has just given you is the same oath that you would take if you were testifying in a court of law? Do you understand?
I do.
And that your answers are under penalty of perjury with the same force and effect reset as though you were testifying in a court of law under oath. Do you understand that?
I do.
If I ask you a question and you don't understand the question, please tell me and I'll be happy to repeat or rephrase the question. Do you understand?
I will.
Now, when we're done with the deposition today, the court reporter will type up all the words that we say here, and you will have an opportunity to read the deposition, and you will be asked to sign it after you read it. At that time, you will have an opportunity to make any changes that you feel necessary in your deposition. But if you do make any changes, I or any of the other attorneys involved in this case will be able to comment on those changes should this case go to trial. Do you understand?
I do.
Do you have any questions or reasons why the deposition should not continue?
No.
Were you called to the scene of an accident that occurred on July 19, 1978?
Yes.
What kind of accident was it?
Somebody had walked into a pane of glass.
How were you notified that this accident had taken place?
Upon my arrival at 3660 Wilshire, and upon going to my office in Suite 636, I was told of this incident and immediately went downstairs to find out what the story was.
When you got downstairs, what did you see?
I saw the plaintiff lying.
By plaintiff, whom do you mean?
Mr. Schwartz.
Please go on.
He was lying prone.
Do you mean lying on his back or lying on his stomach?
Lying on his stomach.
All right.
With his head westerly and his feet easterly, parallel to the entrance lobby.
Was he inside the lobby or outside the lobby?
He was inside the lobby.
Could you describe Mr. Schwartz's condition when you first saw him?
There was a uniformed individual that was applying a pressure point on his body that was knelt over him. Mr. Schwartz was lying on his back and was talking to no one specific, whether it was the person applying the pressure or whether it was some others that were standing around at the time. I have no way of knowing.
Was Mr. Schwartz bleeding from any part of his body?
Yes.
What parts of his body were bleeding?
The right side of his scalp.
Any other parts?
His right arm and right leg.
Where on his arm was he bleeding and where on his leg?
On the arm, he was bleeding in the area of his elbow. On his leg, he was bleeding in the area of his knee, and that's where the pressure was being applied by the person that was kneeling over him.
Pressure was applied to his leg?
Yes.
Did you notice any other injuries to Mr. Schwartz as he was lying there on the ground?
No.
Any bruises or bumps?
There was a redness on his forehead above his nose and right eye.
Did you see any other bumps, bruises, or cuts?
No.
How long did you observe Mr. Schwartz when you first came down? For how long a period?
I would say initially it was a matter of minutes, let's say a few minutes at the most.
All right, thank you. After you saw Mr. Schwartz, what did you do?
I went into the bank because I noticed the bank manager and asked her if she knew anything about what had happened.
Why did you go into the bank?
I went into the bank because...
Objection, irrelevant. And may I also suggest to you, counsel, that whatever may have transpired in the bank with this witness's investigation, if any, and any conversations he may have had with any other people are wholly extraneous, irrelevant, and inadmissible. But nonetheless, you can go ahead and ask if that's what you're bent on doing.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and ask, but thank you, counsel. We have noted your objection for the record. Why did you go into the bank?
I wanted to see if I could find out if anyone there could tell me any additional information.
And when you spoke to the bank manager, what did you say?
She told me that.
First, what did you say to the bank manager, and what did she say?
Does the bank manager have a name?
Yes, a first name. It's Regina or Regina. I don't know how she pronounces her name.
And do you know her last name?
No.
Would it be all right if we refer to her as the bank manager?
Well,
Or how about manageress?
What did you say to the bank manager?
I asked her if she knew what happened, and she said yes. Mr. Shorts was in the bank.
This, of course, is all in the face of my continuing objection.
Yes, I understand. Counsel, please go on, Mr. Gold.
And had spoken to the librarian.
We're just going to the reset there. Sorry.
Okay.